Hey, this is Rob with another show of Horror Pop After Midnight. Hope everybody had a great week. I just saw Lightyear, the story about Buzz Lightyear, the original story. After years and years of the Toy Story films, I was a big fan of, Buzz Lightyear during the Toy Story films when Tim Allen was the voice of Buzz Lightyear. The cool thing about this movie is I love it how they mix the sci-fi and animation, and the CGI and everything was just perfect. Chris Evans plays Buzz Lightyear this time around, but a lot of people wanted Tim Allen, who voiced him in the Toy Story films. The reason why I didn't go with Tim Allen and pick Chris Evans was because, Tim Allen was the toy action figure, not the real person, because this movie's about the real person, not the action figure. And I was looking at some, interviews of Tim Allen, online, and he was definitely cool with it. In this film, you'll find about his origin and past, what he went through. And another cool thing is you find out who the big robot was. It had such a great twist. And I love how Pixar chose a different direction with the film. In the film, he time travels because he's testing this, light speed. In the film, time travel or time manipulation is a key element in sci-fi, and Lightyear is no different. Buzz wants to escape the planet after he crashed on it and quickly learns his arrival. He experiences the time dilation, which he may have had a 4-minute test flight, but it really lasted for 4 years. Because he goes back and he ends up seeing his friend's granddaughter, which is a shocker. And he's just tripping out, and he's just, trying to find his way, back home. And also in the film, Lightyear has 3 post-credit scenes. So after the film, check out the 3 credit scenes. And then for the extra layer of depth, the cat in the film, if you look up the theory of Schroeder-Dingers and compare it to the 2 cats in the film, you're going to be super surprised. I love that animated, robotic cat. He was such a great sidekick to Buzz Lightyear. This film inspired Andy to get a Buzz Lightyear action figure. I think that's kind of cool, That's how you figured out, where Andy got his Buzz Lightyear action figure, which is awesome. I'm going to go also, since we're talking about Lightyear, you guys definitely need to go see it. It's worth seeing. It's a fun Pixar film. I love the film, but the characters were a little underdeveloped, in my opinion. But the animation, the CGI was good. It was a great story where adults and kids can enjoy it, but the adults would understand the story more than the kids will. The kids are going to go see it because of the great animation. And of course, Buzz Lightyear. Let's talk about, and then they had, in the news about the Lightyear movie, there's 2 characters that are in a lesbian relationship, and they had a kiss, and then everybody online just erupted and exploded, was making a big deal, about the lesbian kiss in the film. So Disney took it out for a while, and then everybody that worked for Pixar and other places complained about it, so they put the lesbian kiss scene back into the film. Even Texas GOP Senator Ted Cruz said this film was like woke Disney for what he says it's promotion of gay characters. And he just calls it lesbian toys without genitalia. So, okay, Ted Cruz, that's an interesting thought to think about, Buzz Lightyear, I guess. Here's some fun facts about, Buzz Lightyear. I mean, the movie was great. I'm done reviewing it. I'm just going to do some fun facts about Buzz Lightyear. I mean, he's my favorite character in the Toy Story films. And yes, I have a couple of Buzz Lightyear action figures. All right. The myth of Zorg is Buzz's father which is true. And then when I was speaking about the whole lesbian, I'm going to go back to the whole lesbian kiss thing. Also, it is banned across much of the Muslim world, like Egypt and all the Middle East countries, Muslim countries, banned it so you can't see Lightyear because of the whole lesbian kiss. Buzz Lightyear was inspired by Apollo 11 astronaut Buzz Aldrin, but originally Buzz Lightyear was going to be originally called Luna Larry. That's kind of cool, interesting, spacey, geeky Luna Larry, but I kind of like Buzz Lightyear better. Buzz is inspired by G.I. Joe, but with a Space Ranger look. I can see him getting the inspiration from the G.I. Joe, tall dolls back from the 60s and early 70s before they went to the, lower action figures. I can see that. Buzz has more than 15 quotes. Yeah, he does. If you watch the Toy Story films and everything in Lightyear, he does have tons of quotes. His action figure came out in 95 before, the original Toy Story was released. Buzz's famous quote, "To Infinity and Beyond," came from a book title by the same name, Infinity and Beyond, by author Eli Mayer. In 91, the book explores the history of infinity. That's kind of cool. And then the voices of Buzz Lightyear for the Toy Stories wasn't always originally Tim Allen. They wanted Jim Carrey to voice Buzz before Tim Allen. I could see. And they also went after Paul Reiser too. But Paul Reiser, who did the voices on Monster Inc., decided to turn it down too. Buzz's color on the suit was supposed to be red, but instead they did the green and purple color scheme. Man, that's pretty interesting. I didn't even know that. And then also, Buzz Lightyear only made $50 million at the box office, and Disney and all that were hoping to be more, but it kind of fizzled out, which I can see. But it was a good movie. I will definitely get it for my, film library. Also, one of my favorite, now I'm done with the review with Lightyear. I'm going to go into talking about other stories I want to share with you. And I'm also going to do another review like I did on the last show. I'm going to do 2 reviews, but before I'm going to go that, I'm going to do some fun, geeky, nerdy stuff to talk about. Did you know it's the 47th anniversary of Jaws? The first Jaws film, starring Roy Scheider. Man, that movie was great. And I grew up in California at that time. And after watching it, I was afraid to go into the beach water for a while. I had some friends making fun of me or joking me going, "Oh, come on, Jaws is not going to attack you." Well, you see surfers out there getting attacked by Jaws. I didn't want to get attacked by Jaws. And then later I got over the, being scared of Jaws, and I finally went back into beach water. Which was like crazy. But yeah, I can't believe it. 47 years it's been since Jaws hit the big screen. Dang. I'm 2 years older than Jaws. Man, I'm old. Well, I'm going to be 50 at the end of this year. I don't act it, but my body tells me a totally different thing. Also, there was this Austin-based auction house called Heritage, and they sold a sealed original 1986 VHS copy of Back to the Future for $75,000 for a sealed VHS tape. And the person who owned that tape before he let it go was Thomas Wilson, who played Biff in the Back to the Future movies. He had that movie sealed for a long time, and then for jokingly, he left a note to the, whoever, won the VHS tape and said, "I had this film for all these years, but I couldn't find a VHS player." He wrote like in a jokingly way. He did have a VHS player. He was a millionaire, darn it. He could have found one easily. Now, I'm going to go into my next review. I've watched this on Netflix, It's called Web of Make-Believe, Death Lies in the Internet. It's a creepy, shockingly Netflix documentary series on Netflix, 6 episodes, and it was produced by Ron Howard. The first one was called Death by a SWAT Gamer, and it talks about this gamer. He's also a hacker, real smart. He would go around calling the police and telling them to go to different high schools from all around the United States doing bomb threats, and they would come out and try to look for it. There's no bomb threat. And then he does another thing that some gamers do online called SWATter. And SWATter is where hackers will, go online, call police officers, SWAT teams, and make fraudulent 911 calls to have SWAT teams come and arrest and shoot after innocent people. And there was this one story where it went wrong by the same hacker, and an innocent victim got killed for it. And then for a while, he made like tons of different Twitter handles, and it was bragging about it because he did it, wasn't his fault. And how it all started was he was online playing against another gamer, Halo, and this other gamer accidentally killed him on purpose. So he got mad. So they had like an argument back to each other. And then he goes, oh, if you want, and then he was threatening to kill him. He goes, if you want to come kill me, here's my address. So he gives him this address. But, instead, and when he got the address, he sent, the address wasn't really the other gamers. He just gave him an old address he lived at. And that's how it all started, attacking this innocent family. And then one of the family members came out, to see what's going on because they were surrounded by the police. The police, arrested everybody. And then one of the police officers, shot him and killed him, thinking he was reaching for a gun. This was in Wichita, Kansas. And then the family's still trying to get justice to get the cop arrested for murder. But they're letting him get away with it because, it wasn't his fault. So, which I think is, pretty sad. And then they went after and finally found out who the hacker and gamer was. They nailed him at a public library when he was still talking smack, how he was getting away for making all these fake 911 calls and stuff and laughing at. And he did finally get caught and arrested. And then there was another episode. It talked about this hacker. He was really good. He made fake driver's license, fake passports, and he would make fake ATM debit credit cards, and he would go around. This is back in the 90s where you had this this Verizon key, a key thing you hook into the computer, before everything went up and viral. So he goes around to all the different ATM machines, different cities around the United States, stealing all this money. And then he learned how to use dead people's identities and file tax returns under their names for years. And he collected, a lot of tax refunds into different, bank accounts with, false names. And he was doing this for quite some time, which kind of got the IRS curious about him and everything. And they were trying to find ways to try to nail him and find out where he lives, because he has all these different identities and these different, IP addresses where they couldn't trace him. So, so they started, following him around, seeing what he does. So they finally found out and, nailed him, find out where he was. And they used this machine called the Stingray, which is where they can drive, police or FBI or whatever can drive around people's houses and turn it on and trace you by your iPhone. And you can also see innocent people's stuff on their iPhone as well while they're searching for it. So when the hacker got arrested, he was in jail for 5 years, and he was looking at different law books, to try to figure a way, how he get out from his, long, prison sentence. So he finally was looking around and found this article by one of the law enforcement officers that mentioned Stingray. So he was wondering, going, what's Stingray? So he does some investigation. He talks to a guy, who's outside that can get on the computer, because he wasn't allowed to get in computer in prison. So he finds out about that, and then he starts investigating his own case. And he started using, the Fourth Amendment, where, they did it wrong without getting a proper, warrant and search and seizure after they, raided his house and found like millions of dollars and gold coins and silver coins. So he decided to had a case. So he decided to represent himself. So they went to court, and they were talking about that, and, because the judge was willing to listen, but the judge turned him down and said, the cops and law enforcement, had the right to, nail him. So he was locked in 5 years trying to find other ways. And then all of a sudden he gets this letter in jail, saying, your time is served and you can, get out of jail. So I think the reason why they did that was because, he had a lot of stuff that brought out that, law enforcement and governments didn't want the general public to know about the Stingray machine. You can look it up, the Stingray machine. And then also in the series, they had another one about this guy who'd make these fake Facebook accounts and like hit on all these like young girls on Facebook, be friends with them and swap numbers. And then all of a sudden he would hassle them. He would sexually harass them, threaten them online, saying, if you don't show me any of pictures of you naked, I hacked into your accounts, and I'm going to show pictures to your, job, your friends, your family, everybody. And he was harassing like several of these girls, but these girls didn't want to, show any naked pics, and they were having problems with it. And then finally they got this detective on the case, and, she got a bunch of stuff and went to the FBI. And they finally, found ways to nail him, and they found out the guy was one of the girl's classmates in high school. He was like a real quiet guy, and, he was just demented, but, in front of everybody, they seemed like he was just like a normal quiet guy. And then they had all this evidence, but they couldn't, nail him because he wiped his phones and wiped everything clean, so they couldn't nail him. But he made a bad mistake. He went back to the original girl he harassed and started harassing her again. And then she went to the authorities and found out what was going on with the other women. So they set up a sting where they had an officer acting like he was that girl to get him out in the open. And then, they, finally had an arrest warrant. So they chased him on a high-speed chase. He finally stopped. And he had all the evidence in the original phone, everything, in his Nintendo case. And that's how they busted him. And then they found out that, he, was watching like crazy porn, all that weird stuff. He was into all this weird and crazy stuff. But yeah, Web of Make-Believe, Death License on the internet is a definite series you need to check out on Netflix. And also, I'm going to be doing some more upcoming reviews on my show. I'm going to do the review on the upcoming biopic film Elvis. And I'm also going to do it on The Black Phone with Ethan Hawke. I just love horror films. Ethan Hawke is a great method actor. He's done some weird roles. He's done some cool roles. But I am looking forward to it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show tonight. Thank you for all the love and support. If you want to follow me on Facebook, hit the follow button at Horror Pop After Midnight Podcast. But if you're into Twitter, you can follow me at Pop After. And you can listen to me every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, roostershamilton.com, Rooster Radio. You can follow me on Instagram at Horror Pop After Midnight Podcast. And you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel, Horror Pop After Midnight Podcast, to see what adventures and great stuff I do in the wonderful world of YouTube. And you can, and also, on these live shows, I also, record, my past episodes, and you can check out my past episodes on Horror Pop After Midnight on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, Spreaker, Google Podcast, and all those great podcast platforms out there. And everybody have a great night.